In doing some tests with the Canon R6 Mk2 and the Sirui Saturn 35mm 1.6 anamorphic full-frame lens, I noticed that having the in-body image stabilization turned on created a lot of warping, which unfortunately is then baked into the video, and you can't get rid of it. So you can see here with the IBIS turned on, anytime the camera does any sort of rotation, the edges get this real weird jello-y effect. And the R6 Mark II has several different levels of image stabilization. This is with the IBIS turned on, but no digital enhanced stabilization. This one is with the full image stabilization turned on, which crops into the sensor a fair amount, but it still has that warping. It's then embedded in the footage, and you can't get rid of it. So I tried turning off the in-body image stabilization, and you can definitely see how shaky my hands are. This is with the 35mm. So going up to a 50 or 75mm would probably increase that shakiness. So this is with the image stabilization turned off on the camera and using DaVinci Resolve to add some image stabilization. And you can see on the screen here the settings that I used. You can see this is much more stable, doesn't have all the high frequency shakiness. But you can see over in the trees a little bit, just a little bit of a degradation in quality. Here you can see a side-by-side with no image stabilization in the camera and correcting for it in DaVinci Resolve. Here's just some more tests of the same thing. With this shot, I tried to get a little bit closer with the tire to see how much shakiness you'd be able to see up close versus distant. And again, this adds the image stabilization in DaVinci Resolve. It is the same clip that we just saw, but with these settings applied. Comparison with the original clip straight out of the camera with adding stabilization using these settings. Obviously, using a tripod would make the need of stabilization unnecessary, but if you need to do some handheld shots, this just gives you an idea of what can be done and how it looks by turning on the stabilization in the camera versus using stabilization in DaVinci Resolve. You can see that these stabilization settings are different than previous clips. The higher the cropping ratio, the less it zooms in on your footage. So a cropping ratio of 1 means it does not zoom in on your footage at all, and a cropping ratio of 0.25 zooms in the most.